Dan, it's time to go back.
Back to where?
Back in time.
When?
1886.
Oh, that was several years before
When
I was
King
born.
Arthur's Knights of the Round Table roamed the countryside.
Is that when that happened? I thought King Arthur sounded like it was an older thing.
This is the Order, 1886.
I want a history lesson, Jeff.
Well, this game's not going to give one to you.
Okay.
This is alternate history.
Okay.
This is the PlayStation 4 exclusive, The Order. We're just jump in. There's not much. It's a game you play. It's a single player thing. Straightforward campaign. You go in, you clear it out, you stop.
Okay. Well, I look forward to once we get out of these menus and these bars will go away. That'll be nice.
It's not even.
What?
Don't even joke.
Oh, no.
This game plays entirely in this aspect ratio. It kind of just signifies right out of the gate that, maybe the developers are thinking about this as like a kind of a cinematic thing. And I think like visually, we'll get into it here. Let's see. I think that's the parts that have been shown before. The first time I played it, it was a sequence in Chapter 3.
Okay. I am actually at the end of Chapter 3 right now. I played a couple hours last night. Yeah, it seems like they're really going after some cinematic stuff there. I didn't do a lot of playing.
Yeah, it's a very slow game. The thing is it's a cover shooter. It's a third-person cover-based shooter. You hide behind stuff. You pop out. You shoot guys. You blind fire. You use the D-pad to change weapons. It's like a lot of kind of Gears of War style things present here.
Let's hope these work.
But then it's intercut with these much slower sequences where this is as fast as I can move right now.
What does your fabled instinct tell you now?
And you get a little bit of flavor between the characters, and they set up a lot of things. Like the premise of this is fascinating, and they don't do that much with it.
Well, what I'm wondering, just from the early stuff I've seen, is like obviously you got this King Arthur's Court stuff going on, but then it seemed like they were alluding towards like Jack the Ripper stuff, and also there's werewolves. So I don't know.
And Tesla, they're
Tesla.
pulling in a lot of stuff. The band Tesla, not the
scientist.
Obviously,
The important
they
Tesla.
play signs.
Right.
There's nothing important about the Tesla the band.
I completely agree.
Such indiscriminate slaughter.
So right now we are we're knights. We're knights of the Order. Working for Her Majesty the Queen, but not kind of off to the side doing crazy dark business. And we are investigating. There's a rebellion happening in a place called Whitechapel. And we're not really sanctioned to go in here, but we're kind of doing a little sneak and peek, kind of get in here and do some stuff.
Are there half-breeds afoot?
Half-breeds are always a threat.
Okay.
They are lichens.
Which are werewolves,
Werewolves.
right?
You fight werewolves in this game. In this game, there are werewolves.
I did like that. I didn't really know that going in, that this had a bunch of werewolves in it. And so when I was playing last night, it's like, oh, all of a sudden, dudes are just turning into werewolves, and I guess that's what I'm fighting now. I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I guess, maybe we should put it on the deck of this that, we're going to talk about the story a little bit, because there's not much else to really talk about.
Yeah.
In terms of, what's in here and stuff.
And talk about that. Got some physics on the bottle.
This damn cart.
Yeah.
Shine our light on the cart. Look at that cart.
Yeah, it's definitely a cart.
I think, they're going for cinematic stuff, but also at the same time, I can't help but wonder if, by drawing less stuff on the screen, it's helping them make the game look better.
I mean...
it's a nice-looking game. You run into some cases where, your AI doesn't always move in a way that looks fantastic. I've seen them get hung up on geometry here and there and kind of jitter and little things that kind of break some of the immersion. But by and large, this is a fantastic looking game.
The exit is on the other side. Let's find another way through.
A great looking console game, just really nice looking stuff. And sometimes that makes, when the AI does stuff that all video games do, or when the animation freaks out the way it does in every video game, it stands out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Weapons out.
I've seen a little of that myself. I have liked the gunplay feels pretty good. Like the aiming, it feels pretty solid to me.
It's pretty standard weapons, which was not what I was expecting. The first time they showed it off, they had this thermite gun that shoots dust, and then you shoot the thermite dust with a flare, and it sets it all on fire, and everyone burns up, and you're like, oh, okay. When I first played it, I was like, dude, is this going to just be full of Ratchet and Clank weapons? Because that's badass.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I got
you get
some
a pistol, you get a machine gun. There's like an arc gun that shoots like lightning.
Yeah, I got
But that's
that.
kind of the only other really fantastical weapon.
Yeah, I had that for like that one segment. I shot a werewolf with a lightning bolt, and then I just didn't have it. So I shot it like twice in the whole couple hours I played. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that said, the standard weapons feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that, you know, like... The pistol's very accurate.
Yeah, I see you're using the auto-loading. I went with the revolver, typically. Seems like it
Well,
had a little more stopping power.
This is what I had when I started, but yeah,
Okay.
I generally use the... I mean, you know, everything has stopping power when you're shooting it in the head.
Yes, that's
So
true.
it's definitely a game where, like, I just went for something that had the largest magazine size.
Okay.
Because I was dumping rounds into people's heads.
It reloads quick, too.
So with this lantern, we can't really take cover for some reason. It's a heavy lantern, you know?
I was confused when I started and you were doing the slow walking thing and it sounds like someone's talking to you on a radio like they would in like Gears of War or Batman.
Yeah.
I was confused. I was like, this is 1886. What the hell's going on here? And then I got the arc gun. I was like, oh, that's right. We're doing all sorts of weird, not real technology for 1886.
Yeah.
What's your aim?
I do like how so much fiction from this era will just like shoehorn Tesla in to explain weird
Right.
technology.
Like, Tesla made it. That guy's out of his mind.
Yeah. I love to. You ever see The Prestige?
I have not.
That was my favorite Tesla because he shows up, and first of all, it's Tesla, and he's doing weird stuff with magicians. And then you realize, oh, that's David Bowie. Like, David Bowie's playing Tesla.
That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's so good. It's actually a really good movie, too.
Up there, on the generator.
Yeah, Tesla's like a pretty young kid in this, from what I've seen.
Yeah, that revolver does seem like it has more stopping power.
Yeah. Kick to it. I do appreciate the limited HUD that's usually there.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
I think you're hitting that railing right there.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, it does seem like the
I'm almost out of
revolver,
ammo
if
with
you
this
hit
thing,
him in
so I'm
the gut or places other than the head, you still might drop him with one shot. Whereas with the auto load, it seems like headshot or nothing.
Sure, yeah. Or, I mean, but you also can carry so much more auto-loader ammo that you,
Yeah.
you can pump them.
Yep, that's true. I do like one of the standard guns has the thing where you hit R1 and you just like shoot a bunch of fucking dust in their face. And it
Yeah,
disorients
it'll
them.
blow guys back. So, you know, this game, the most dangerous enemy in this game is a man with a shotgun. The guys with shotguns will flank you, and, you know, the shotguns do a lot of fucking damage. So,
There you go.
We're almost there. Let's hope there are no more distractions.
Yeah, I like just the weird little hints, like just early on where I'm at, like they're kind of hinting at like, oh, this one guy that seems to be my boss might be like hundreds of years old. Like I kind of like that stuff. You obviously have beaten
yeah,
it,
so I haven't played through the game. It's, you know, the game it does not reveal itself up front, and there's kind of a big info dump about who you are and what's going on and stuff like that that happens a couple hours in.
I need scissors, 61.
But it's, you know, but honesty, not just lunacy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, you know, they kind of dump things on you like, oh, okay, all right, the hundreds of years old, like they make all of it kind of make some sense here. And to me, that's where the game starts to get a little interesting. Once they start to reveal, like, okay, like this kind of the ties to King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table and you know, how it all kind of fits together is really interesting. And then they do next to nothing with it.
Oh, really?
And the story, I think, really falls flat. By the end of it, you know, it's a short game,
What is it?
5 or 6 hours. You know, I think it took me about 6. And it's very straightforward. It's not the sort of thing where you're like, I'm going to go back and do side quests. It's just, no, it's you play through this cinematic styled experience.
It's only a matter of time
The credits
before the
roll.
Lycans regroup and return.
Yeah, I haven't seen much in the way of collectibles. You like pick up a thing that's like an advertisement for a play or a circus, and you turn it over, and it's got a signature on it, and like
There are the
that's it.
phonograph cylinders. Those are the collectibles.
Okay, gotcha. I don't think I found those yet.
And yeah, and you know, there's a trophy for inspecting everything that can be inspected, and hopefully we'll find one of those before too long here. Just something that can be picked up and inspected, because it's like the goofiest thing.
It's totally like L.A. Noire style, where you're like rotating a paintbrush or whatever.
Like, yeah, you can pick it up and rotate it, and it seems like it won't let you continue on until you've rolled it around in your hand for a while.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to be gleaned from looking at it.
Yeah, like the
It's barely even like a flavor piece of like, oh, there's going to be some unique dialogue. No, you picked up and looked at this thing and went, and then you put it down, but you can't put it down immediately.
Yeah.
You've got to stare at it for a little while.
And then sometimes like a triangle will pop up and you'll press it and move it in a different way or whatever.
Yeah. That's like on a couple of the better items. You know, there's like, oh, I found a thing that I can interact with, and it'll show me something else. Like here's an example. This one will actually be something we can read, I think. Yeah. So you find little pieces of paper here, and you know, you can look at the reception log if you want. And,
this is total L.A. Noire here.
but this could be, you know, a gun. In some cases, it could be, you know, there's a little model ship you can pick up and roll around, or I can flip it over.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, but sometimes that circle button to leave doesn't appear until you've rolled something around for a while, which I found like to be really lame.
It's an odd choice, yeah. I will say these interiors are just very detailed. I really like the look of the architecture.
It's nice. I wish I could move more quickly. So because this isn't an action sequence, like I'm in full-on walk and talk mode, but there's no talk.
Yeah, and like you can sometimes do this like clamber thing, like when there's action going on, but even that's not very fast.
Is he?
Like the L3 thing.
Yeah.
Like right now, I would imagine you could run if you wanted
Yes.
to. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's actually really fast.
Yeah, I mean the in-action run, like once you have a gun out and you're playing the game, you can go.
Well, there were like there were non-action parts where it would let me do that, but it was more of just kind of a clamber, where it's like a little shuffle, a little faster.
I don't think that's what clamber is.
Clamber's climbing up stuff.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm thinking of?
A little scoot.
Sure, scoot.
A little shuffle.
A roadie run.
Yeah, but no, but it's not as fast as that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Gray, one of us should search the basement.
Agreed.
I do understand now. Like when I first started seeing the gameplay, I assumed this would be a co-op thing. And then seeing how cinematic it is, I see why that wouldn't be that conducive to like.
Well, a lot of the time, I mean, like, but the thing is like I don't think the cinematic stuff works especially well.
Oh yeah.
Like it seems like that's what they were going for, but I don't think that's a great choice. I mean, the letterboxing stuff I think cuts off a little too much of the screen, and you know, there are probably technical reasons that come along with like the artistic choice or whatever of letterboxing it. But I think the game is worse off for being letterboxed, because there were cases where I just felt like I wasn't seeing enough.
Yeah. Did you play Evil Within much?
Great.
I didn't like it. I
didn't either.
I did not play that much of it.
The power's out in the
Yeah, that had a similar letterboxing thing, and for some reason it bugged me more in Evil Within. Like, obviously, I would prefer this to not have it.
I feel like, you know, like it's one of those things that I think some people are going to be rubbed the wrong way by it, and some people will totally dig it, or at least not mind or whatever. But for me, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, video games aren't movies.
Yeah.
You know, and like I feel like chasing after movies is a really weak goal. Like games can be so much more.
Yeah.
Games are so much more. So like it feels like it's artificially holding this game back in a weird way.
Which even now, because
you know, they
everything's
didn't shoot it on film. You know, there's no there's no technical reason other than potentially having to render less by cutting off a significant percentage of the screen.
right. Well, which all TVs are 16:9 now anyway, which is, you know, a cinematic ratio.
Yeah, it's pretty cinematic. It's not, you know, it's not 235:1, you know, whatever they call it.
Right.
CinemaScope. I don't know.
What if you had a curved screen though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be a huge difference, obviously.
Is that the lantern from the beginning of WWE Immortals?
Yes.
Okay. So this is canon with that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so there's stuff in this game.
Say half-breed?
don't know, maybe drop the lantern. There you go. Now you can hold a rifle. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Getting the hell away from that thing is what you're doing. Oh dear.
So I'm not moving here. It's automatically moving.
You're just aiming?
And I don't actually really need to shoot there, I don't think either. But so the game seamlessly transitions into and out of cutscenes and QuickTime events, which is impressive. Like in some ways, you look at it and go like, "Wow, we've made good on Dragon's Lair," in a weird way. That's it's maybe a little overly snarky, but but that's kind of how it comes across. That's black water he's drinking. When you go down, but are not out, and you have not gone down before recently, you can drink black water to regain your health. There's a story reason for that. They do kind of get across. But that's just, I think that's that's one of those things where that's the first time you encounter it, unless you were bad at the game and died before this.
Okay.
Or got dropped before this, rather.
It did seem weirdly paced, at least in those first 3 chapters, as far as like brief thing of action and then long cutscene thing, and then like triangle during a cutscene.
Yep. Yeah. The whole game is very weirdly paced that way. There are no. I feel like there are very few protracted sequences of action, and when you do get that, it kind of. I don't think the action's that tight. It's all right. The weapons are fine, but generally, like I said, it's like the most dramatic enemy you face is a man with a shotgun. Oh, we got to hit. Oops, I hit the wrong button. I think we're going to die now. Yeah. See,
what is that thing called? The R1, the stranglehold thing?
Oh, that's black sight.
That's right. Okay, and you got to fill a meter by killing things, right?
Yeah. Okay. And it's L1, I think, for that.
Oh, okay.
R1
what was the R1 that popped
is the
up?
fire with the gun here. So.
Oh, is that what it wants you to do?
Oh, I guess I actually have to shoot him to even get the prompt.
Weird.
All right, good to know. I thought I could save some ammo and just wait for the R1 to show up there, but I guess I gotta put a few rounds into him.
Get him.
So that's that air blast you were talking about.
Yeah.
That only this gun has.
Is that unlimited?
I don't know.
I haven't seen any kind of indicator of like ammo.
Looks like it. Yeah, it doesn't seem to take any ammo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I never used it.
Really? I like it.
I just kind of like it. I never needed it.
I kind of like it as a fuck you thing, though. If I just run up to a guy like, fuck you, I'm going to shoot a bunch of dust in your face and then kill you. Is it mostly interior?
It's split.
Okay.
There's some exterior stuff for sure.
And you said that there's not a whole lot in the way of like collectibles and stuff. Is there?
There are things to inspect on desks, and there are the phonograph cylinders to find. Like those are absolutely collectibles.
Is there much in the way of like off the beaten path, like outside of the collectible things, like different paths to go or any kind of open-ended areas?
Not really. There are a few cases where you might just like, oh well, I can walk upstairs and get people from above, or just stay on the street and shoot them here. But it's kind of tight like that. It didn't feel like a true alternate path.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop here.
I found a
Okay.
And load up a different sequence.
All right.
Because that's like one of the 2 boss fights in the game, and
How are the boss fights?
they're quick time events.
All of them?
It's twice, and it's the same thing both times.
Oh boy. Okay. Huh. I kind of gave that a pass, even though I didn't like it in Shadow of Mordor. Like I thought that was a lame last boss fight, but at least the rest of the game was really good.
It's slightly more than a quick time event, I should say. You are kind of walking around and doing stuff, but it's rather inconsequential compared to like you just are triggering things where you're mashing on a button. You're not running around with your gun.
Gotcha.
So here's our four-person crew here.
Quietly. Understood.
And we have managed to get on a Zeppelin.
That's cool.
And imagine me with nothing to wear.
Ever been on a Zeppelin?
Go dress shopping.
Nope.
Neither have I. They still make Zeppelins?
Nope.
Okay. So we probably won't get a chance to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you know, the Goodyear blimp is kind of a Zeppelin.
Worked without
Okay.
a safety net before.
All right, that'll be a goal for me.
Then again, we are commandeering the flagship of the United India Company's fleet.
Questions? Then let's move out.
Sebastian.
I keep seeing references to the United India Company. Is that a big part of the narrative?
Yeah, absolutely.
The old man. It's a long story. One that I will share with you when the time is right. There's still much that I have to find out for myself.
I hope you know what you were doing.
A lot of facial hair going on in this game.
Seems that the
Yeah,
council
well,
was
it's
wary of your
1886. It gets
defiance.
cold out.
My order is
Razors
true.
are
Once more,
expensive.
Chris.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. You've said that much before.
Patience or
I think
friend,
voice acting's pretty good.
all in due time.
I've noticed that.
Generally.
Yeah, all the production value stuff seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Remember, stealth mode.
Stealth mode.
Lucky.
Mademoiselle has my absolute assurances. I shall be as silent as the grave. The path looks clear of guards. We should hurry.
Wait for my go-ahead. On me. Go.
The colors here, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Come on. Secure the cockpit and await further orders.
This way, monsieur.
You telling me you'd rather all the same? If you ask me, men
Redcoats.
were not meant to fly in machines. Well, no one is asking you.
Our entrance was not noticed by the
Late
guards.
for me shift. I better get to my post.
The lock appears to be magnetic. We should find the control unit.
Found it.
How much like traditional stealth stuff is there?
Not. There are 2 sequences that are like spots where you can't get seen. It's actually kind of lame because if you do get spotted, it just cuts to a very quick shot of you getting shot in the face and dying.
Okay.
It's just automatic fail, automatic death.
Huh.
Like, it was literally like a part where I'm like, oh, it's like really Dragon's Lair. Like, am I going to turn into a skeleton and fall down? You know, it's just like, oh, pop, done, dead.
Are they long sequences? Because I always hated it in like Splinter Cell and stuff, where it's a long sequence.
You know,
and
it's like you gotta just run around and stealth kill some guards until you find an item, and then stealth kill a few more. It's not a major part of the game. We'll probably see a stealth kill here. This is kind of the first of the stealth sequences. That's the thing, you know, it's a short game, and the action's not that outstanding. And on top of that, they recycle a lot of concepts multiple times, like the, you know, kind of the bigger fights are. So it's a timing-based thing there.
oh, so it's when the circles.
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
He's dead.
So they end up recycling a lot of these concepts that were not that great the first time, and you're like, oh, I'm doing this again. Oh, well, okay, sure. And that's, you know, it's not great. It's not a great game. It's got some just, you know, some pacing stuff, and you know, it's a nice looking game that I think is like boring.
I mean, is there even anything in the way of like, you know, you talk about like thermite guns and stuff? Is there any kind of upgrade system for
Nope.
nothing at all? It's just what you see is what you get.
Yep.
Huh.
And you know, it's a single player game, which I don't have a problem with, but like from a value perspective, I think it's a hard sell. Because it's a short game. It took me probably about 6 hours to get through it, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of debate about that in recent.
Yeah. You know, the hour count is not really what I'm. But this is all it has. You finish this. There's zero reason to play it a second time, and there's no other mode to go to or anything like that. You know, so there's kind of just not a lot here.
That's interesting that you say that, because like so many people complain about like, oh, Call of Duty is a campaign, you can beat it in 5 hours. It's like, yeah, but then you also have a lot of multiplayer you can go
Like
to.
that's a really bad comparison. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it could, because Call of Duty is in a lot of ways 3 games in one, and you might not like any of those 3 games,
Right.
but you can at least. I feel like the value is pretty sound.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it gets flack from certain people about the 5-hour campaign. or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. And if it was, you know, if that was the length of the campaign in a game that, you know, gave me reasons to play it multiple times, whether it was co-op or just something else to it, I'm trying to, I'm not saying that every game needs to have multiplayer because I don't think that's the case. But I think this product, asking $60 for this short campaign that I have no desire to play again, that I don't think was that great the first time, I think that it's a really questionable value proposition for a lot of people.
Do you feel the same way about something like, obviously a totally different kind of game, but God of War, where, God of War 3, for instance, and 2, they didn't have multiplayer or anything, and you could probably beat it in 5 or 6 hours. Like, do you feel the same way, or do you think that has more reasons to come back?
I'm not a big God of War fan.
Okay.
So it's, that doesn't work for me on a lot of levels.
Okay.
I hit the wrong button. Dead.
Fun.
That's what I get for talking during QuickTime events, I guess. But we might have to look in this next one. Sometimes you have to. Oh no, that's just. Oh, hit the wrong button. I'm dead. I got all these right the first time, so it's actually kind of fun to go through and just watch him get shot in the fucking face over and over again.
There we go. The same one every time?
Yep.
Comes the circle.
And how about this for you? I don't know why it's circle instead of square that time. It's kind of okay. So I got to look over here, hit that.
That's fun.
No, not really.
Yeah, just the idea of dinking a dude's head into a fire extinguisher.
Oh well, yeah, sure. I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actions, like it's it's
Oh,
nice. It's nice. It's fun to look at.
Seize
But
the ship
Yeah.
in the name of liberty.
Percival, the cockpit is secured.
this is a game you should rent if you want to play this game. Like I can't
status?
recommend that anyone go pay $60 for this.
Would you recommend it as a rental? Do you think it holds its value there?
I think that if you are interested, like technically, like from a graphical perspective, it's a really nice looking game. There's a lot of good art in here.
monsieur.
It's not the most interesting game to play, so I would say if you are going to play it, which I don't think is necessarily a guarantee. I don't think it's like a must play. But if you are going to play it, I would strongly recommend not paying full price for it. Either waiting for a dramatic sale or, renting it, borrowing it from somebody. There are a lot of different ways you could go, but paying $60 for this, and that's granted, there's only so much we can really even say about value because hey. Maybe you're an idle billionaire, and $60 is of no importance to you. By all means, buy the order. But if you're trying to be even somewhat discerning with your money, I just can't back this thing. It looks nice, but the action's not particularly fantastic. It doesn't distinguish itself particularly well.
If it were a stellar 5 hours, I wouldn't feel bad about it. It's like, I'm on the other end of the spectrum as far as God of War. Like, I love the God of War games. And so I bought God of War 3 for $60.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a 5 or 6 hour game. But I loved it, and so I didn't feel bad at all about spending that. But if this is a ho-hum, mediocre at best, 5 hours, then yeah, $60 is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's a tall order.
And this being PS4 exclusive, they can't even do like Evil Within. If you played it on Steam, people found ways to kind of get around and mess with the field of view stuff.
Yeah.
And, that is
I
not
feel
gonna
like it's like this game has a claustrophobic look to me that I don't especially like. With the way it's letterboxed and stuff like that, it's frustrating. It's not the largest problem this game has. So I don't, widening it or, making it 16:9 doesn't actually solve any major problems with it, but it just kind of adds up.
I guess I've never even thought of this. There's probably no way at all for PlayStation 4 to connect to old, 4x3 TVs, right? Do old 4x, do newer 4x3 TVs have HDMI?
Oh, well.
Just to even hook it up,
right? Yeah. You could theoretically go HDMI in and into some kind of breakout box that spits out blah blah blah. Like there's probably some horrible way to do it, but at that point, yeah.
Our Lord Hastings should be none the wiser.
Mm-hmm. Just realized all the references to God of War I've made in this thing. I completely just forgot that this is made by a PSP God of War developer.
Right, yeah. Those people seem to really like those PSP God of War games, right?
They're good. They are good, yes. I mean, I like the console ones better, but they did a really good job with them.
Percival, we have a complication. Lucan is on board.
My brother? What is the Knight Commander doing here?
Everything seems to be running smoothly. Yes, Lucan. Quite smoothly. We shall be in Portsmouth in a few hours.
Indeed. Then off to the Americas.
Damn it. He was to escort the Lords until the ship reached our borders.
Should he be informed of the situation?
Risk alerting the rebel agent.
Galahad is right. Alistair will not appreciate being kept out of this. Worry about that later. He might yet be welcome support if the situation requires it. We proceed as planned.
Understood. I'll let you know when I have a better vantage point.
This game does a thing sometimes where it can be difficult to know if you're playing or not. Which is like, I guess, speaks to the quality of the visuals and the way the transitions in and out of cutscenes are so smooth. But I definitely had situations where it's like, oh, you know, because a lot of games will letterbox for cutscenes and then widen out or something like
Right.
that. There's no visual indicator a lot of the time that you're playing.
Yeah, or like it'll do something where like a HUD or a health bar or something will
Yeah,
show up
yeah.
where, you know, I really do like minimal HUDs, but yeah, I can see how that would be jarring.
There were a
here.
couple times where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to, okay. Like it was never like a problem, but it was a weird jarring thing. It was just like, oh, okay, right, I'm playing a video game again. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You are to hold fire until we have a confirmed target.
Weapons hold confirmed.
I'm a sucker for stuff like scenes like this, like in Call of Duty 4 when you shoot the guy's arm off and stuff. Like you've got like a high value target
Uniforms in
and
Whitechapel didn't
just kind
have
of
shoulder
perched up
patches.
somewhere.
Uh-huh.
I'm a sucker for that.
Keep me informed.
Turn so I can see. Batch confirmed. The guard nearest Hastings checks out.
Excellent. Check the remaining guards.
Can't see the correct shoulder. Damn, no patch. There is a rebel on the opposing balcony.
Acknowledge. Make sure you check them all.
No patch. Percival, we have a rebel on the ground floor.
Understood. Keep searching.
A patch. Percival, the guard atop the stairs is bona fide.
Good. Keep looking.
That was the last one.
Good. Eliminate any threats.
Acknowledge.
His hat off.
Weapon loaded.
Good hunting.
I'm pulling the trigger. Let me shoot. There we go. Damn it, I held my breath before it would let me shoot.
Awesome. That's how guns work.
Galahad, have you cleared the
All
rebels?
right. Well, was that a hat that came off?
One remaining.
Okay.
Lucan! Rebels! Get Hastings out now!
Get him out of here!
Hastings got away. I need backup. Everyone move to plan B.
Percival, the mark is down. Rebels incoming. I need support now.
Understood. We'll converge on you.
I can see where they're coming from.
Contain their point of ingress at all costs.
You find yourself using grenades often on this?
Nope. Yeah, you have to switch to them specifically, and you know, pull them out, and it's the big grenade arc. You know, I didn't really like using grenades in Gears of War either.
Yeah. You swung it around on a chain.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. Let's go down here. I think if we go down, we could fill up our black site meter, and maybe I can try that. That's the kind of last mechanic we haven't really shown yet. So let's come on, shoot me.
So yeah, I'm trying to look at your black site thing here. Is that the bottom right?
Yeah, that's the
field?
bottom right meter.
So what is it? It's weirdly laid out. So what is the like? Does it start at that line after the little zigzags?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I should probably. Well, all right, it's full now anyway. So let's pop it. He'll pull out his pistol.
And so what are you doing to control that?
I'm using the right stick to move from target to target, and pulling the trigger to shoot.
Are you aiming beyond just pointing at a guy?
Yeah, you can kind of aim a little bit, a little fine aim when you get in there.
Okay.
Goes down.
Ah, damn, that would hurt.
That would kill him in this case.
In his
any
hand?
shot from this weapon.
Oh.
Kills immediately.
Jeez.
It's handy that way. But yeah, if we just quickly throw a grenade here. Smoke grenade, you know. It's a smoke grenade.
That's what that is. This little icon to the right of your gun when that HUD shows up. Is that your Blackwater?
That indicates if you have Blackwater available, if you'll go down but not out, or if you will just die.
And does that...
Oh, that's
whoa.
shotgun guy.
Oh,
Shotgun
okay.
guys are real fuckers. A lot of them are armored in a way that makes it hard to take them down. They're the most difficult enemies you'll face in the entire game.
Wow.
Man with shotgun. This is a bad pistol. Never should have picked this thing up.
Does the Blackwater kind of recharge automatically?
Yeah, I think it's a time thing.
Okay.
You know, so if you get dropped and then get dropped again immediately, you know, you can't revive.
Okay.
I will say, like the revival stuff, like or the death stuff, I actually thought was pretty effective. Like let's go down here. You know, if I can melee up close here. So when I'm down, I need to be secure for a couple of seconds, otherwise I'll die. And then I can activate Blackwater and then mash the button. That'll fill my health and my black sight.
Oh, so you always...
When I get back up, so you stand back up with full black sight, but then if you get dropped again, boom. And it cuts to black immediately, which I thought is, you know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And automatically reloads you back at the checkpoint and stuff like that.
Almost kind of a Last of Us thing when the clickers would catch you. It's just a very brief thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Which I thought it's a stylish way to handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's... The story feels like it ends after 2 acts.
Okay.
That stuff is really disappointing. You know, like all this game really has going for it is its cinematic stuff, and you would like that to be married with a really good story. I think that would excuse a lot of the length stuff and a lot of the kind of monotonous gameplay stuff that this game has, but the story is pretty lackluster. They set up an interesting premise and then just don't do enough with it, and that's what disappointed me the most, you know. And it's, you know, like it'll be so the game feels like it ends at the end of Act 2. Like there are things to be resolved in the world, but not so many things that it feels like something that you would set up a sequel off of.
Have they announced any kind of plans for DLC or season pass?
I have not been following it to know, but if they ship a game that is this short and this monotonous and then save the 3rd act for DLC, all of video games are dead. And I hope that's not the case. Like it's almost unfair to even say it because you would hate to. I feel like I'm pinning something that no one in their right mind would do, but that's what we've said about a lot of other things that people then went on to do. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah.
Is it like a Halo 2 ending situation? Where it's just you feel like it wasn't really wrapped up?
No, it wraps up something that is not the thing you actually care about.
Oh, okay.
And kind of says like, all right, now the real fight, you know, now we need to go do this. And it's like credits. You're like, wait, fucking, really? That's it? This is it? That's the end of your game? What's going on? Like so it doesn't even feel like a complete experience on its own. Like this game is a real disappointment.
That's a shame because it looked like it had a lot of potential.
yeah, there are things about it that, like, with the story and premise that I would like to see done better. But yeah, this is not something I can I would ever feel good about recommending.
The cuffing target has been put on high alert.
Oh. Yeah, all right. That's what I get for carelessly running around. Uh-oh. Well, let's just annihilated this guy.
We'll do it.
Yeah. When I played this sequence for realsies the first time, I kind of stayed put upstairs and just sniped everybody. I didn't really run around too much like this.
Is that effective?
Yeah.
Back up!
Oh, hey, hi.
Is triangle a dedicated melee button, or is it just when you know?
It's just when
coming up to
someone's
you?
close. It's
Oh, it's just kind of
it'll
context
interact.
sensitive.
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, used to pick up items and stuff like that. But anyway, that's the order.
What the bloody hell was that?
A bomb just detonated on the front deck.
That's the order. Yeah, it's available this week. But
Everyone!
yeah,
There's a rebel commander on board.
disappointing.
It's the woman from Whitechapel.
It's a shame.
I'm in pursuit.